You know how in the world of dating, it's pretty much just assumed that men do all the chasing? Well, what if we could flip that script entirely? Today, we're breaking down the playbook that does exactly that. It creates a dynamic where you become the one who gets pursued.
And this quote, man, it just nails it. It's not that women don't make the first move. They do. The thing is, they're super selective about when they do it and who they do it for. So what is it about that certain kind of man? That's exactly what we're about to get into. All right, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll dive into the chasing paradox, why the usual approach almost always backfires. Then, we'll talk about the solution, the attraction switch, and the rules of intrigue you need to know. After that, we'll cover what to do when she makes her move, and wrap it all up with the 3 stages of pursuit.
Okay, so first up, the chasing paradox. I bet this is going to sound super familiar to a lot of you. It's when a guy puts in all the work, right? He sends the first texts, plans all the dates, and in return, he gets crickets. This is the paradox. The more you chase, the less reason she has to come towards you. What's really happening here is you're kind of training her without even realizing it. When you're constantly showering her with attention and validation, especially when she's giving you nothing, you're teaching her that she doesn't have to put in any effort at all. Why would she? The pattern just gets locked in. Okay, so that's the problem. What's the fix? Well, it all comes down to this core idea called the attraction switch. This is the key, the actual mechanism that can flip the entire dynamic on its head.
And look, this isn't about playing mind games or anything like that. Think of it more like understanding a psychological trigger. It's all about creating a very specific mix of emotions that makes someone who's just sitting back and watching suddenly feel this need to jump in and get involved.
So what flips that switch? It's a combo of 2 really specific feelings. First up is intrigue. That's when she's thinking, I can't quite figure this guy out. And the second ingredient is uncertainty. That's when she's wondering, wait, am I sure he's even that into me? You combine that curiosity with a little bit of doubt, and bam, the switch is flipped.
All right, so intrigue and uncertainty. That sounds cool, but how do you actually do that? This is where we get into the real playbook, a set of 7 practical tactics that are designed to build this exact dynamic.
Rule number 1 is all about what's called the contrast effect. Basically, you gotta stop rewarding low effort. If she sends you a lazy, one-word hey text, the big mistake is firing back with a super enthusiastic paragraph. Nope, you match her low energy, maybe even go a little below it. This instantly makes your attention feel like something valuable, not something she gets for free. Okay, the next rule is super powerful. And to get why it works, we have to talk about this weird quirk in our brains called the Zeigarnik Effect. You know how a cliffhanger at the end of a TV show drives you absolutely crazy? That's this effect in action. Our brains get obsessed with things that are left unfinished. So how do you use this? You create these things called open loops. Think of them like little cliffhangers in your interactions. Her brain craves closure, and the only way she can get it is by reaching out to you again. You end up living in her head, rent-free, without even trying. And that brings us to the next 2 rules, which kind of work together, microflirtation and scarcity. The idea is simple. Give her short bursts of your attention, then pull back. By making your time and your focus feel scarce, like a valuable resource, you create this powerful craving. It completely changes the game from her just expecting your attention to her wanting to earn it. Okay, the last 3 rules, this is like the masterclass. It's all about your mindset. Planting the seed means giving her a little green light to make a move, which makes it less scary for her. Then, when she does, you gotta hold your composure. Acting cool signals that you're used to this kind of attention. And finally, delaying validation means you reward her effort, not just her existence. That makes your approval mean so much more. Okay, so let's fast forward. You do all this stuff, and it works. She texts you first. She asks you to hang out. Now what? This moment is absolutely critical. How you respond right here can either lock in this new dynamic for good, or it can send you right back to square one. This is where so many guys mess up. They think, yes, I won. But her making the first move, that's not the finish line. That's the starting gun. Your reaction in this very moment sets the precedent for everything that comes next. The huge mistake is to freak out with excitement, reply in 2 seconds with a novel. That just kills all the tension you built. It screams, okay, you got me. The right move is calm appreciation.
You acknowledge her effort, you reward it, but you keep that little bit of mystery and control that made you so interesting in the first place. Let's look at a perfect example here. She says she got you tickets. Now, check out this response. First, there's a little delay. You're not glued to your phone. The words are appreciative, for sure, but the tone is calm, not over the top. It's the perfect way to reinforce her good behavior without giving away all of your power.
You know, this whole thing, it doesn't just happen all at once. It actually unfolds in stages. So to really get a handle on it, it helps to use a simple 3-stage model. This will help you figure out exactly where you are in the process and what to do next. Okay, stage 1 is testing the waters. This is where she's making really small, low-risk moves, maybe a quick text or a light touch on the arm, just to see how you'll react. If you handle that well, she moves to stage 2, securing your attention. Now the investment is higher. She might plan a date or go out of her way for you, and if you keep that vibe going, you can get to stage 3, deep pursuit. This is when she's the one driving things, initiating contact, and yeah, even competing for you. So, you see, your job here isn't to just sit back and wait. You're kind of the guide in this whole process. You need to recognize what stage she's in and then respond in a way that gives her just enough encouragement to feel safe moving to the next level, all while keeping that forward momentum going. At the end of the day, getting her to make that first move, that's just the beginning. The real power isn't in that one moment. It's in building a totally new kind of dynamic where you're both putting in the effort. So the question to ask yourself is this: are you just trying to win the first play, or are you trying to win the whole game?